Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all different age, races, colors, ethnicities, welcome back to the Chiesty Boys podcast. My name is Jacob McKendry, and as always, to my right, I am joined with the Big Lebowski, the Big Louie, Mr. Jacob Lewandowski. Jacob, how we doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. Chiesty fam, welcome back. Welcome back. Crazy weekend of football. Even crazier with our team. My God, I hope that was a nightmare. I feel like I can't wake up. I'm also here with David Martinez. How are we doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. You know what I mean? I'm a broken man in more than one way, and just fighting to stay alive at the moment.
So let's talk about it. I mean, I think this is the first time we've all been in the same room since whatever transpired yesterday, and let's kind of dissect what we saw. I guess we'll start it off here. First, I guess we'll just touch on the obvious. Horrible offensive play. All around, Caleb looked extremely shaky to start that game. Simple throws that he should have made, he could have made, he did not make. Did you guys, at least to you guys, I guess to you, Lou, we'll start with, did he look rocky to you? Did he look nervous? Because I know Washington that was his hometown, right?
Yeah.
Like that's him returning back.
They even showed a clip during the game of him throwing a game-winning touchdown for the state championship.
And you know what was crazy? It was a fucking Hail Mary, too, dude.
Yes.
So, Lou, I mean, do you think he looked nervous?
Wow.
Do you think...
I just connected that. That is crazy.
Do you think he looked nervous?
Yeah, he was definitely nervous out there. Not only returning to his hometown, he's also playing. This is pick 1 versus pick 2 action. Big game. Like we said the last episode, it was bumped to headline there on the 3 o'clocks. Yeah, he looked really nervous out there, but there were a lot of things he couldn't control out of his hands. I want to reiterate this offensive line. I know we thought it was going to be bad going into the season, and we knew there were going to be rough patches, but wow, man, they are getting beat up. They are getting bullied out there. And it's a lot of it was the offensive line, and I think the coaches, surprising enough, looked nervous themselves, and you could see it in the play calling, you know. But, yeah, there were definitely a lot of nerves there. David, in talking about Caleb, do you think this was more of something he could control, or do you think a lot of these outside factors had a lot to do with how he played?
Man, I'm not going to say that this is all on Caleb, obviously, man. He's a young quarterback. He had showed us multiple times throughout this season like he is our guy. You know what I mean? I have no doubt that we made the right pick. You know, he likes to hype himself up. I think there was a little bit of that pressure going into this game. You know, like, this is 1 versus 2. This is my hometown. You know, he probably had a lot of people he knows in the crowd for him there that night. You know what I mean? Part of that gets to you, but also, like, he can control that our coaching staff decides we're going to run a fullback offensive lineman run up the gut. Okay, they practiced it. Okay, just because you practiced it doesn't mean that you call that play when you're down by 5 points, okay? You need to get points in the NFL to win. And when you have a running back, Roschon Johnson, standing back there who has proven to be our goal line back, proven to put up touchdowns, you're just going to take that moment away from him? Like, what went into that? I really wish I could hear the conversation that said, yeah, we're going to run this play down 5 and we're going to get a touchdown with Doug Kramer.
It's unbelievable. And like in the times that they've used Kramer as the fullback and Roschon as the running back, it's worked at a fascinating clip. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I guarantee you if you look it up within like the 5-yard line, how many times they've ran that formation, how successful Roschon has been. And it's like, I'm tired. I know we bashed Waldron the first week and we kind of glazed them up last week just because of, you know, they were beating bad teams and everything, but I'm tired of these little stupid, prissy fucking backyard play calls when all you have to do is just run a simple run play up the fucking middle. There's no reason that a backup center should be getting that ball in that situation and that type of game when we need that win. And it's like, for Eberflus to not override that call is even more infuriating because as a head coach, this is your team. You're the one that they're looking at in hindsight, and it all falls on your back. Sure, Waldron was the one that made the call. He was the one that thought this little gimmicky play was going to work, but at the same time, Eberflus has the opportunity to override that. And the fact that he stand pat and let that happen is it's a completely unexcusable for an NFL head coach, and you're going to lose your city and your team that way when people don't have faith in you to make the right call. And what's even more upsetting is when he had his press conference today, he defended the call. He talked about how many times they ran it during the week, and he said he had confidence in the call. He said he wouldn't have thought of anything different. It's all just BS. And I love his press conferences whenever he's winning compared to when he knows his back's against the wall, because he says some completely outlandish shit. I mean, and the next thing that he said was talking about the Hail Mary play. And I think it was 8 seconds. They were on the 35-yard line. And you even had Tony Romo saying that they need to cover the boundary. Because if you cover the boundary, you don't give up that 15-yard pass. Jaden Daniels has to throw the ball fucking 70, 75 yards in the air. And chances are it's not even going to hit the end zone. It's going to miss like 5 or 10 yards short. And then if that case, they catch it, you can make a tackle. And for Eberflus to come out in his press conference today again and say that didn't matter, strictly just the last play mattered, that he wasn't even concerned about that
it's just 13 yards.
It's ridiculous.
It's just 13 yards. Who cares?
And not to mention, I want to go back on the topic of Roschon Johnson, elite goal line back, with both of our touchdowns. Both of our touchdowns, if you can say for certain for anything that he can get in there when it matters the most, and on third down when we need it, and we're handing it to an offensive lineman instead of a guy who's scored more than 50% of our touchdowns. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, David, I want to ask you about Tariq Stevenson. Like, we're seeing multiple videos. We're seeing multiple news anchors.
And this shit's embarrassing, dude.
He was he was heckling the crowd during the last play. The play started. He's still heckling the crowd. And he's heckling them. He finally turns around. The guys are basically in the end zone at this point. And I don't even think he knows what he's supposed to be doing, because he runs into the pile and tips it back. And you guys are telling me today, I had no clue. He was supposed to be the tip guy.
He's supposed to be the tip.
Supposed to be the tip,
He was
man.
supposed to be boxing out Noah Brown.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, from your perspective, what would you do as Eberflus, are you going to reprimand him, or are you going to, get behind him? What do you think?
So I'm not gonna preach on what he should do. I mean, if I was the coach, all I'm gonna say is, like, the culture that I feel in the Bears locker room, like, remove the coaching staff, is a culture where they hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's enough for Tyreek Stevenson. And here's why I feel that way. I feel that that's enough because he's doing something. He already did something that none of our coaching staff did, and that was hold himself accountable. At least he came out and apologized and said, hey, I can't do that. The game isn't over until the clock hits 0. That's 100% on me, and, like, I'm going to be better from this moving forward. Not once do you hear Flus or Shane Waldron, like, take accountability. Yes, I called a bad play.
I agree.
I called a bad play. That's embarrassing, dude. Like, you're the coach, you're the face of the franchise, and you're going to sit there and not admit when you clearly made a bad call. There was a third down in this game where we had DJ Moore do a run play, like, as a fucking running back. Like, what are we doing, dude? Why are we doing this?
I told you.
DeAndre Swift went for 129 yards, bro. And we're going to run it with DJ Moore? I don't get it.
It's all this gimmicky Waldron shit, dude. Like, I don't know what...
Jackson Smith was right.
What fascinates him about doing this dumbass shit, dude? Like, especially when we have a very good 2 running back core with Roschon on the goal line and DeAndre on the outside, man. And you saw DeAndre was able to bring life back to his offense. So it's like, why does DJ have any business getting the fucking ball behind the line of scrimmage? Can he make plays? Yeah, but the dude is better running routes. There's no reason you should be doing that. And like you said about accountability, that just makes me fucking sick. Like, and this is what just pisses me off about Eberflus is he'll never take credibility or accountability for whenever he makes a mistake. And it's crazy because, I mean, even today, like, they interview DJ Moore on 670 at like 8 o'clock every Monday, and then they interview Jalen Johnson at 5. And they asked both of them, they asked DJ more specifically about the play call, like the whole fumble that happened, all that with Doug Kramer. And they're like, how did you feel about that play? He's like, did you think you were going to run that play? He's like, to be fair, we practiced that all week. He's like, but I don't think that's something that we should have ever ran in that situation. And Jalen said the same thing. And that should just set off alarm bells everywhere in Ryan Poles' head, in the McCaskey family's head, that like our coaches can't even take fucking accountability. And Waldron is lucky that he doesn't have to get thrown into a press conference a day after. That man would be getting barbecue fried chicken right now, dude, because he's already a skimpish dude as is in front of the cameras. How do you think he would explain that? It's just unexcusable. I cannot believe. Actually, I can believe it, man. Like being a Bears fan now, anything you see it's something new, fucking crazy happens every week. And at this point, I'm really not surprised. It's just
now. Let me ask Lou something real quick here, Lou. Let's talk about our defense, though. This is a team, the Washington Commanders, who are known for putting up points, who are known to have a good run game. Okay, where their receivers have been blown up. How do you feel our defense performed yesterday without Jaquan Brisker and without Kyler Gordon?
They were the only reason why we were in that game. They were the only reason why we were in that game. Truest statement all Sunday. I mean, they played fantastic. They played lights out. Like you said, they held one of the most explosive teams in the NFL with a dynamic quarterback to field goals till the end. It's just sad that our offense really couldn't finish it, and even without Brisker, I can't imagine, the teams when we played those elite Packers, Lions, what our defense is going to do, because I think this is by far the best red zone defense we've had in a long time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The red zone defense, and growing up, I always came from like a bend don't break style of defense, especially with Lovie Smith.
Absolutely.
And some of the coaches that came after him, it was always bend don't break. I really feel like these guys are taking it to teams at the beginning of drives and as well in the red zone. Like I said, they're the only reason why we're in that game. I gotta give my hat to them. They are a top 5 defense and they're showing every facet of it, from defensive line to secondary.
And that was even without Brisker and Gordon too.
Yeah.
Like, God knows if we would have had them two, maybe that ball wasn't even fucking tipped. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one of them comes down with it. Maybe Brisker goes up and beats a ball hawk. Maybe Gordon runs like a stunt blitz or something with like 3 guys blitzing, and he's able to get back there and make a play. So those guys mean a lot to our defense, but I mean the defense itself is just you can't say any bad things about them, really, considering what they were able to do to that offense of the Commanders. It's the ability to hold them to 5 field goals and, I mean, a last-second fucking Hail Mary touchdown, whatever. Like, I don't even want to talk about the Hail Mary anymore. It's good enough. It should be good enough in the NFL. If you can hold a team to under 20 points in the NFL, then you should be able to win the game. There's no excuses. This falls directly back onto the offense.
And Jacob, let me ask you. Me and you watched the press conference with Eberflus afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you feel about him saying, he has to go back and look and rewatch, but he kind of broke down that last play, and he kept saying he had to go back and rewatch the film, and that there was supposed to be a tip guy back there, although we all clearly saw no tip guy. And really, how do you feel that he didn't really bring up a lot of criticism to what we did wrong, more of just like praise the things we did right? Do you feel like that's a coaching strategy that's going to help us exceed expectations, or going to limit our team?
I really don't know, because what he's telling the media is probably a little different than what he's telling the locker room. I would hope. But the whole, we gotta we go back and watch the tape. There was supposed to be a tip guy back there, and we got, bro, like, he's using that as a ploy just to get in and get out of that fucking press conference without having to criticize anybody, without put himself in deep water, because he knows he's already in deep shit for half the stuff that went on yesterday. Do I think it's going to help the team in the future? Absolutely not. I think it's going to bring down morale, if anything, because if he can't hold himself accountable, if he can't say what his team did wrong, hell, if you need to put someone on blast in that situation and you need to call out Tyreek Stevenson to make a point, then you do that. Like, he's just such an emotionless coach. Like, he's not too passive. He's not too like aggressive with his players. He's literally just like right in the middle. He's just balanced. He's just smug. He has no expression. Like, he has no feelings. Like, you should go into that press conference pissed off at yourself. You should go in that press conference pissed off at Tyreek Stevenson. You should go in that press conference. You should be pissed off at your offensive line. You should be talking about how Caleb Williams should be getting better, but at the same time, you could praise how his ability to. I'm talking about Caleb now, sorry. You could talk about his ability to totally flush out anything that just happened in that game and ultimately drive that team down and put us in position to win.
Some of those throws he made in that fourth quarter were masterful. And that to end on this game, like, I think that just goes to show, like, we have the pieces in place for this team to not only be good, but to be great. We're genuinely right there. But last night showed that the Chicago Bears are not one of those great teams yet, because the great teams win games that they didn't deserve to win. And we didn't deserve to win that game last night. But our defense stayed in it. In the fourth quarter, our quarterback was ready to come back down the field and win us that game. And he gave us that opportunity, but we just couldn't finish it out. But we battle on, we move on. Next week, we go to play Arizona on the road. And actually, let's talk about our opponents real quick, actually, the Arizona Cardinals, because they just had a game against the Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa coming back from his concussion. As you guys know, we talked about on the podcast, multiple concussions. Previously, he was put on IR. Now he is back. And in my honest opinion, not surprisingly, losing his first game back to the Arizona Cardinals, a very polarizing, I would say explosive team at times. Lou, how are you feeling about the Cardinals, how they looked against the Dolphins in this game?
It was a rocky start for both teams. Not a lot of scoring going on in the first half. But Tua finds a way to get Tyreek back in the game. Tyreek was looking pretty slow. Not looking slow per se, but, just wasn't getting the ball a lot. Going into this game, Tua coming back is for sure a huge factor, especially for Tyreek in fantasy. But yeah, just can't hang on. Kyler Murray comes back to take it from him. Jacob, what'd you think of this game?
I thought the Dolphins were going to pull it out. I thought they were playing pretty decent in the first half. The Cardinals always show some type of resiliency in any game, especially in the second half. I feel like they played a few close games this year. They've had a really good win against Buffalo. Now another good win against Miami. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty worried for this game next week. I'm gonna keep it so serious right now. They're 4-4 just like us. They're fighting for a wild card spot. We won a game on the road this year? I don't think we have.
Under Matt Eberflus, we have not won a road game.
Okay, so yeah,
is that not? This is a true fact, everyone. We have not won a single road game.
So I am so concerned because, especially when you come off of that type of defeat that takes the wind out of your sails, and that's another thing we didn't mention, or we don't have to jump back into it, is how we came off of 2 weeks of rest, and that is the product that we put on the field. So now they're trying to scramble to make things right, figuring out what they got to do, figuring out how to address the Tyree Stevenson situation, which is totally going to take away from the preparation of the Cardinals. I'm pretty worried because I think Kyler Murray is a great playmaker. He can throw the ball when he has to. He's able to get out of the pocket. Really slippery, slimy little guy. Have a really good stud of a tight end in Trey McBride, who had 9 receptions for 124 last week. James Conner, who's an absolute workhorse. Now, granted, we just talked about our defense and how good they are. Obviously, that's going to combat that. But it's just the whole morale of this team moving forward. I'm just concerned in this atmosphere that we're going to be going into in Arizona on an away game to the West Coast. But in terms of the Cardinals game against the Dolphins, I think it was a great game for both teams. It was nice to see Tua back out there. Can't really say I agree with his decision to come back and play football, but at the same time, he's a grown-ass man. He's from a very strict culture when it comes to winning and football alone. So you can't really blame him. High upside for Tyreek now moving forward in terms of fantasy because he's going to be getting all those looks again. But needless to say, our opponent next week, I'm kind of concerned.
I think our defense is going to have to show up. I'm really hoping we at least get Jaquan Brisker back for that game. He was still in concussion protocol this week, so we're hoping he's good to come back next week because, as Marvin Harrison showed, he's an absolute threat. Trey McBride, who earned me my nickname, the tight end whisperer, last season. Trey McBride is an absolute dog out there. He just makes plays. He's very fast, very shifty, similar to.
I got to throw a flag, honestly, because I've literally never heard anyone call you the tight end whisperer.
Listen.
Have you been addressing yourself as that?
You guys, this was brought up. Okay, Jacob did at one point call me the tight end whisperer. Okay, and
Is that true?
I think I may have.
he called me the tight end whisperer because I drafted Sam Laporta, one, and then after I got rid of Sam Laporta, traded him to JT, I then picked up off waivers Trey McBride, who made his eruption when Zach Ertz went down for Arizona and got traded.
Is that why you're running double tight end flexes now?
Listen, hey, the
You
double
speaking to him like Caesar the dog whisperer, like
the double tight end flex
Catch me that pass.
can work sometimes.
catch the
Hey,
pass
man.
right now.
Hey, if you can get me at least 13 to 14 points, shout out to George Kittle, fantasy tight end one this year. But yeah, overall, I think the key to this game against the Cardinals is our offense needs to show up and play. This is not a good defense.
Our offense needs to come out here and win this game.
Yeah.
For our defense. I'm not saying our defense is going to come out.
We have to make a statement.
Yeah, I'm not going to say our defense is going to come out and play flat because, I mean, any given week it's the NFL, anything could happen. But the offense just needs to come out and play fucking lights out. And what I want to see is for us to get some points in the first quarter. We are the worst first quarter team in the NFL right now, and it's just, oh God, it's just everything about this team, man. It just upsets me.
Are you broken, Jacob?
I'm just annoyed.
Are you
It's
a
just,
broken
I'm so
man?
over it. Like, I'm tired of having up and down weeks, beating the teams we should beat, and then practically having a win. And then another stat about Eberflus: there's four games in his career with the Bears where they have had a 95% probability win rate in the fourth quarter that they have lost.
Over 90%.
Unexcusable. But
Now let's talk about our neighbors in the NFC North. Some bright news: Minnesota Vikings losing their previous game. Good Thursday night football matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. Jacob, how are you feeling about this one, man? Vikings, what are you thinking?
well, I guess I want to start with Los Angeles first.
Okay.
A big game for them. Obviously, Coop Cup coming back, helping you out, Jacob, with your fantasy team. What I did not expect is for Puka to come back and have the volume that he had until I think like 2 or 3 hours before that game. I don't even think anyone thought that man was even going to see the field.
No.
I think his first drive, he had about, I think it was like 3 or 4 catches, got them going right away. I think the Rams are a very dynamic team when those two are active, and I think they're going to continue to be. They're going to be stingy motherfuckers when it comes to playing games against other opponents this year. I mean, they're going to be a tough game. Kieran Williams, absolute workhorse, 23 carries, 97 yards. Matt Stafford doing Matt Stafford things, always throwing the football. But in terms of Minnesota, this was a trap game all along, and I knew it. And it's crazy because I took Minnesota at -2.5, and I was like, there's no way this loses. Obviously, this was before before I found out Puka was going to be playing. I think Darnold needs to do more. I mean, I know he had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but I think there were some throws that he could have made that he didn't. Aaron Jones seems to be an absolute workhorse. I think he's averaging like 20 carries a week now. Jettis continues to work, but at the end of the day, I feel like all teams are going to lose games like this where you really expect them to just, who was that?
George
Pickens for the first TUD.
Wow.
That none of us had.
Wow.
Back on track. At the end of the day, Minnesota's still a great team.
Offense, it doesn't count.
Offense.
That's huge.
That's huge for us.
Sorry, guys. We all have.
We always
I think
do
we all
a
have
first
different TD
touchdown.
scores for this, right? Or
Who do you have, Jacob?
I got Freiermuth.
and Darnell Washington.
Yeah, I have Freiermuth as well, and Darnell Washington. I threw on him
so
as
we're all just on tight ends right now. But I think Minnesota's still a good team. Jefferson's going to continue to eat on a weekly basis. I think they're getting back Hawkinson next week, so I think they're only going to get more scary as the season goes on. Lou, what about you? Obviously, like I said, I know Kupp was a big addition back to your fantasy team, but how did you feel about the Rams team in general, and do you think the Vikings are going to continue doing what they're doing for the rest of the year? You think they're going to slow down, improve? What do you think?
I want to bring this to the defensive side of the ball when it comes to the Rams. We've seen these first 5-6 weeks. The Rams are really trying to find the identity without Aaron Donald. And especially getting that run stop and going and getting that pressure. We really saw him turn it on in the second half, believe it or not. Those 2 touchdowns scored by Sam Darnold, he was given plenty of time. He was able to sit in the pocket and find his guys, find Jefferson. But you saw them turn it on, bring the blitzes more frequently, which really threw Sam Darnold out of place. He wasn't able to complete those easy passes to Jefferson like we were seeing in the first half. So I do think that's a positive for the Rams going forward. And you have to think about the Rams team, who was honestly shopping. If they lost this game, they were shopping players. They were shopping Cooper Kupp. They were shopping a couple other veteran players on the defensive side of the ball. So they get this win, and they believe they could still make a wild card chase, and I believe they could do it just as well, getting their 2 top receivers back. Really looking good on the offensive side of the ball. Puka looks like he was never injured. Overall, I think it's a great game for them, and like I said, puts them right back into contention.
Now, there's no way they even think about trading Kupp now, right?
Oh, no.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't trade Kupp now
do.
just because you actually have an opportunity. You're 3-1 in conference games or division games, and honestly, I think you have an opportunity to make a little run at the wild card spot if you keep your team healthy. Now, the problem with the Rams is, can we keep all the guys on the field?
Definitely.
That'll be the issue going forward.
And Sean McVay even addressed at the press conference after the game. He was like, yeah, I just want to shut that down right now. Like, we don't plan on moving Kupp, and like I expect it to stay that way moving forward. So it does look like
after the game.
After the game, yeah, it does look like Cooper Kupp will be staying in Los Angeles, most likely.
I feel like he just makes that offense click. Now, granted, I know that Puka came on and was really just getting all the receptions early, but I feel like you have to honor what Cooper Kupp does and that ability to get in that slot role, run the short underneath routes, 3 to 4 yard routes that you need on like the short third down, short second downs, etc. I mean, I feel like he's the one that keeps that wheel spinning.
Well, and since he's coming off an injury, like I feel like Puka's had a longer time to recover. So it's like Kupp's first game back, like, okay, let's make sure we use him in those key scenarios and we'll ramp him up like when we feel like we can.
We're talking about 2 different receiving styles. You know, Puka Nacua is known for deep shot threat.
Yep.
His ability to win those contested balls. As Cooper Kupp is the guy who you're going to go to on 3rd and 6, or you're going to hit for a curl route. It's not going to produce a lot of yards, but, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6, you got a guy to go to on a short route that can make completions. But anyways, before we go too long into it, I want to get into a different game. In prime time, we had the Ravens getting upset by the Browns. Wow, no one really saw this coming. I could say I was on the Ravens, but for sure I was on the Ravens in the 4th quarter, like minus 166. So
yeah,
lost a bunch of cash there. Jameis Winston stepping in and really taking charge of that offense. Now, David, I want to ask you, what were your takeaways from this game?
Man, good to see, man. Honestly, Jameis Winston, dude, he had a really good game. 27 for 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That was surprising to me, the no interceptions.
Right?
No, literally. This is a guy who his rookie year literally was leading the league in passing touchdowns and interceptions.
He got the LASIK.
Yeah, he did get that. Hey, fixed him up a little bit. But overall, man, I mean, shout out to him, dude. Like, I've always kind of been with both of these guys, man. Deshaun Watson has not been it. He has shown that he is not the same player, and the injury was the best thing to happen for the Browns to see the team that they can be without him. Jameis Winston, I'm happy he got this opportunity. He's known as kind of like the funny guy, you know what I mean, that everyone sees on social media.
You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow.
Yes, sir. Like you said, man, hey, the Lord guides the way. You know what I mean?
What was the one that he did after the one game? He was like sucking
the
on
W.
His fingers and shit.
That's a W.
Yeah, and he's like sucking on his fingers. I forgot they asked his teammates, like, man, I don't know what the hell that guy doing, bro. He crazy as hell.
Nuts. But Jacob, let me ask you this. Seeing Jameis Winston play, seeing Jameis get this incredible win over arguably the best team in the NFL, does this change the mind of the Browns on Deshaun Watson when he returns?
No. No, especially with the contract that they're paying him. It's from what I could see, it's his team.
I just hope Jameis gets a shot with another team, hopefully.
Jameis is going to be Jameis, though. I feel like Jameis is always going to be that serviceable backup that is always appealing to the eye because you're like, ooh, he's going to come in and be weird and throw for like 500 fucking yards and somehow win a game.
But you have to think, in Tampa Bay, he had the eye problem. He admitted to it. He got LASIK. You never really got to see him with the Saints. You never really got to see how he played. He was never in the game. So this is our first opportunity since that LASIK to see him in a complete game.
I agree.
Honestly impressed, and I love the way this guy handles himself. He's as humble as it comes.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm happy for the Browns.
And to mention, who was his wide receiver one? Jerry Jeudy and Njoku.
He was using Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, considering and
Cedric
Tillman. I'm sorry,
Cedric Tillman,
another
99
fantasy
yards.
fucking stud this week too. So
go grab him off waivers.
if he's making that happen with that offense, I mean, and if Chubb can get back to full, well, it looks like Chubb's already getting his full-time reps now, so it looks like he's going to be a huge factor for that team
carries.
as well. I guess we'll see where they go, but I do think when Deshaun comes back, it's really going to be too hard to. I guess let's see. I should have made a call on this. I guess let's see what happens with the Browns for the rest of the season. The only way they can go is up right now because they're clearly at rock bottom, especially everything that happened with Deshaun. How bad that they've been for the first 8 games of the season past the last game. I think it's just a bad loss for the Ravens, though. Evidently, this is a team you should come in and fucking blow out. I know the Browns have a pretty stout defense, but you have a stout defense as well. And to let Jameis in them come in there and totally just flatline you guys from start to... Well, it was a pretty close game, but for him to drive down, I think there was 4 minutes left on the clock. He drove 60-something yards, scores them a touchdown. It's just a bad loss for them. But this goes back to the kind of conversation that we have about the Bears and the Lions and the Packers and the Vikings. Anything could happen in a divisional game. No matter how bad the opponent is that you're playing, this team that you're playing. You've been playing them for decades now. So their tendencies, where they tend to lack stuff. You might know some insider knowledge that they might not even know that you know. So those games are always going to be close. But I just think if you're the Ravens, if you want to prove yourself as a contender, you have to win that game. So it's a bad loss for them. Jameis, I love the interviews and everything they do with him and his confidence in himself. So I guess we'll see what happens with them moving forward. But it's just hard for me to imagine that he would take Deshaun Watson's job, to answer your question.
Yeah, just, this Joe Flacco came in previously when Deshaun Watson had gotten hurt, had success for a brief moment before getting released and sent to Indianapolis. And then you see Jameis Winston come in, also have success in an offense where Deshaun really couldn't get anything cooking. It begs you to wonder, to say the least.
Now, Lou, you brought someone up there, and I think this is good to bring up quite the controversy that people are talking about right now in the NFL. The Indianapolis Colts Houston Texans game with Anthony Richardson. I can be honest. What I'm about to say, I've never quite heard of this before in my life.
Are you talking about his interview?
Yes.
That's crazy, dude.
Anthony Richardson, in I believe it was the third quarter of the game against the Texans, he had a play where he had to scramble a little bit out of the pocket, kind of make a play with his legs. It didn't seem like anything too crazy. He sat out on third down because he was tired. and this is who the Colts are playing as their starting quarterback, potential franchise quarterback that they took with a top 5 pick. Lou, how do you feel about Anthony Richardson moving forward, and do you feel like next week he should be the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts?
This might be a questionable opinion, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think Anthony Richardson might be the worst quarterback in the NFL. I think he might be the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, as a coach, that's unacceptable. This is a drive you need. We're talking about a close game. We're talking about you're only down 6 points, I believe, at the time. This is a drive you need. And you're telling me you're going to tap yourself out because you're tired?
It was so funny when they interviewed him, too. He's like, the interviewer's like, yeah, Anthony, we just realized in the third quarter, you just ran the coach and took yourself out. Was there a reason for that? He's like, honestly, nah. He's like, I was just pretty tired. He's like, just a lot of running around.
Hey, Anthony Richardson, were you tired when you went 2 for 16 in the first half? You only had 2 completions.
You want to talk about how to instantly lose a locker room? It's by saying shit like that, dude. Because I don't even know if he is a captain of their team. I would assume. I feel like most of the quarterbacks in the NFL are. I can't name it off the top of my head, but dude, you want to say that? If I'm his teammate and I'm listening to that, I'm like, this guy doesn't want to fucking hustle for me, but I have to go out there and put on all my effort for him. Bring in Flacco, dude. Give me fucking Flacco, who's gonna go out there, air it out. He's a gamesman. He knows how to win games. He knows how to throw the football. He's a very mellow, chill guy, and he's gonna go out and fucking give you his all, dude. He's a fucking ex-Super Bowl champion, and I'm thinking about the argument now. If Richardson is the worst quarterback in the NFL, I mean, the only person I could think would be worse is Bryce Young, really.
But he doesn't start.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would honestly agree with your statement. I think Andy Richardson.
I mean, you only complete 2 passes in the first half. Like, you're looking confused out there. The offense is just, besides Jonathan Taylor, like, listen, this guy only has a deep ball presence. That's all he has.
Yeah, one of his passes was for like 65, right, for a touchdown or something.
That's it, though.
It was a Josh Downs touchdown, yeah.
That was it. And the fact of the matter is, you're not going to win games airing it out 60 yards every single time you need to make a completion. Like, this guy doesn't know how to check it down. The medium pass is not there. The way he's reading the field and reading the receivers is just not good.
And if I'm going to be honest, man, if I'm like, it's like Jacob was saying, dude, if I'm his O-line, like, dude, I'm out here getting pounded for you, bro. I'm out here protecting, and you're going to say you're tired? Joe Flacco's an old man, bro, and I guarantee you Joe Flacco would not do that, bro.
So, David, let me ask you this. Who gives them a better chance to win? Rich or Joe Flacco?
Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, off of experience, sure. If you want to give a running, obviously Anthony Richardson, he's going to be more mobile, but he's going to be too tired to do that in the second half. Joe Flacco, his experience, he's a good intermediate thrower. He's a good deep thrower. He knows how to facilitate the ball. Anthony Richardson does not know how to do that, bro.
Okay, so let me ask both of you guys this question then. So say you stay with Flacco, you bench Richardson. Is the Richardson experiment over after this season?
Over.
You go for a new quarterback.
You move on, bro.
I think the fact of the matter is they don't have that option, that luxury. They spent the fourth overall pick on them like 18 months ago. I don't think you have the luxury to sit this guy just yet.
Tough.
I feel like you have to let the experiment ride out this season and truly evaluate it at the end of the season. But the fact of the matter is, like, you're not going to win games airing it out 50-plus yards, and you're not going to stay on the field running it every other play when you need to be throwing it down to short intermediate routes.
I feel like they just stunted his potential when he had such raw talent coming out of college. Like, I remember he wasn't even projected to be in the first round, and then how people were just so fascinated by his big arm and the fact that he could run, but he was very immature in the fact that, like, there were certain plays that he didn't make. They should have sat him, honestly. I know nowadays it's so much easier, and it's very common to draft a rookie and start them right away because you want to get them the most experience possible. But I feel like they should have sat him behind. You could have sat him behind Flacco. You could have brought in like an Andy Dalton, someone like a proven veteran. Anybody, and have him chill for a little bit and just realize, take the game in from a different angle and see the field differently, because the guy just doesn't know what he's doing right now. And quite frankly, I mean, I could see the experiment being over soon, but I do understand the whole point in taking him fourth overall and having to start him. Now, this team knows what to do with their quarterbacks. A little bit on a different trajectory than the Colts. Green Bay Packers took on Jacksonville Jaguars this past Sunday. It was actually a very, 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 very close game.
Crazy.
But of course,
Adam calls me, as you're mentioning, the Packers.
Our friend Adam, who is a diehard Packers fan, was actually here watching that game. I was really tempted to take the Jags money line at like plus 450 right before that Ingram touchdown.
Oof.
And thankfully I did it because they found a way to fucking blow it. And I thought it was going to go into OT. But Jordan Love, kind of a big story here. He exited the game in the fourth quarter. Did they say what kind of injury it was? Was it like a rib injury or something? Or
it was a knee injury.
Was it?
Something along those lines. I'd have to look it up, but I think it was something.
But I heard it was a knee injury.
Okay, so David, I guess first question for you. Do you think that injury, I mean, I don't know how serious it was. I guess we should look up more so the injury report, but do you think it's going to be a serious issue for the Packers moving forward? Do you think it's going to change the dynamic in the NFC North, considering, I mean, we versed them in 3 or 4 weeks here?
Yeah.
So do you think that's going to have a change in dynamic for the NFC North, or do you think the Packers are going to be able to throw in Malik Willis, have a game plan like they had a few weeks ago where, frankly, LaFleur ran the ball. Who did they play? I forgot when was it the Titans? I think that they played.
I believe so.
And they ran the ball down their throat all game long. Do you think LaFleur's going to be able to adjust to that, or do you think this is going to have a deepening effect on the Packers?
Well, I mean, against the teams in the NFC North, you're not just going to be able to run it down their throats like that. Absolutely not. Titans, that's a different story. my whole thing is, I mean, first off, give Malik Willis his flowers. He had to come in on the final drive to lock up the game. They did a run play to Josh Jacobs, and he threw a beautiful dime to Jaden Reed to get them in field goal range. So you could say what you want about Malik Willis, but he goes out there and he's able to win some games. So,
Sorry, I thought Darnell
dude,
was
you
about
guys
to
are
score
trying
that.
to shit.
was that
yourself.
him?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God.
One tackle to break. And he was
Darnell
dead.
Washington, lock it in.
Oh, Lord.
Dude, I looked over. You
Dude, I was
I thought he
looking
was
like,
gonna break that tackle.
I know,
and
dude.
get
He would have been
bro.
gone. That would have been crazy.
nuts.
But-
my mom would be blowing my shit up if that happens.
but Jordan Love, these little injuries he's having, like he already had to miss a couple games. If he starts racking up these lingering injuries, you know what I mean? In the long term, that's not good for any quarterback. You know, anything that can limit your play. I mean, dude, even the Bears game, like you could tell Jaden Daniels, he didn't have the zip on the ball that he usually does. Like I felt like that ball normally moves out of his hand a lot faster, and he wasn't doing that, you know, this past game. So my thing with Jordan Love, dude, he's an elite quarterback. He's one of the top quarterbacks. He needs to stay healthy. I don't know if that means they got to protect him a little bit better or what's going on, but he definitely needs to make sure he keeps himself secure, because when he starts getting into these division games, it's going to get deadly. It's going to get lethal.
yeah, no, I definitely. I think Malik Willis is going to be a serviceable backup, I guess, for the next like 1 or 2 games, because I really don't think Love's injury is going to be that long of an injury. But obviously, with the more hits you sustain, it's obviously going to work on you, you know, as your career moves on and even as the season moves on, because you're going to have to stay in good shape here if they look like they're going to make a playoff run, which is probably going to happen. Lou, what about you? Do you think that this Jordan Love injury has deep effects on the Packers? It's going to change the trajectory of their season, the NFC North in general, or do you feel like this is kind of just a bump in the road for them? They're going to be able to recover and adjust.
I think Jordan Love will be fine. I heard it wasn't major, and you know, he rests up, and he's gonna have to play half the game, so that's already, you know, already rest getting there. I think this team, a lot of people think this team revolves around Jordan Love. I'm here to tell you this team revolves around Matt LaFleur.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of those coaches, honestly, Coach of the Year candidate at this point in time.
He should be Coach of the Year.
That can really bring in anyone, just like Andy Reid, just like Nick Sirianni. They can bring in damn near anyone and still get the job done. And I think Jordan Love will be back. It does scare me a little bit, 27 points. The Packers' defense did look way better than it did this week, that's for sure. Jair Alexander gets injured in the game as well. Like I said, dude, if the coaching stays consistent and you get Jordan Love back, they're definitely a threat to win this division. And I'm certainly not taking them lightly when they play our Bears.
What about the old Packers quarterback over there in New York? That's fucking turmoil, dude. Them boys.
Let's talk about the Jets.
Boys are in trouble.
Let's talk about these Jets. I've been waiting to talk about this team, this game, because I feel like this is a lot of what I was saying preseason leading up to this. I don't understand why the Jets did what they did. And I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what Perk Rogers wants to go on Pat McAfee and say. This dude has this thing about him, man. He has this aura. He has this finesse where teams buy into what he tells them. Like, he does. There's no way that the Jets bring over his old offensive coordinator, bring over Alan Lazard, make a trade as a losing team to get Devontae Adams to try and bring something back to this team if they didn't 100% buy in on Aaron Rodgers. And it is disgusting. It literally makes me sick to see that old man, some would say a Halloween prop, a mummy, if you will, out there trying to throw the football. He's atrocious. And this team is even more atrocious. This isn't so much a team, it's a roster. Like, they have all these big name players with the names on the jersey, but they're not actually going out there and playing as a team, you know? So in my opinion, letting the Patriots score 25 points on you, even after Drake May goes out with a concussion, is ridiculous. And they need to blow this team up. They need to take everything out because the Rodgers experiment is over.
Lou, do you think their franchise just got set back like 5 years because of this man?
I don't know if
You think he has the ability to turn
Well,
it
you have
around?
to think of where they came from, and you're
That's true.
coming from Zach Wilson, who really didn't give you a hope to begin with. You're gonna be hopeful, especially for these diehard Jets fans. They gotta have something to hope for.
Let me ask you real quick, Lou. I need to ask you this because you're saying this. I could throw a flag right here. Do you feel like this team was better with Zach Wilson than they are right now?
No.
Oh,
No?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I would disagree. I'm going to save the
You
flag.
think so?
But I think so, personally.
Absolutely.
I think so,
No.
personally, dude. This team just looks. This team doesn't have an identity with Rodgers.
Yeah,
bro.
but at the same time, I'm taking this roster any day over the roster.
And you
that
have-
Zach
I'm not
Wilson
saying the
had.
roster. I'm saying how the team is playing. Do you think the team played better with Zach Wilson at the helm?
No, absolutely not. Zach
No.
Wilson was
2 and
one of
6.
the
They played
worst
just as bad,
top 5 picks of
maybe
all
even
time.
worse. I would think. Yeah, I mean, they're still 2-6. You still have the whole season to go, but you know who they got Thursday night? Houston.
Oh, that's
They got
loss.
Houston's plus 105 on the money line right now.
But here's why on that, and I didn't touch on this in the earlier thing. Houston, pretty big injury in their
yeah.
game. Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs,
didn't mention
potential. I need to look it up. I checked last night that he was getting an MRI. Potential season-ending knee injury.
That's crazy. dude.
Tank season.
Tank season. Nico Collins is going to be coming back off IR. They said like November 10th, so not in time for next week. But the Texans also, man, they took an L. I know we're a little bit past that, but something to keep an eye on.
So then that means Stefan's out for the game.
Oh yeah, he's 100% out
Okay,
for
so
the
what?
game.
Their wide receiver one is
Tank Dell.
He's getting.
Got my tank on.
You know who's guarding him though, right? Who's gonna be guarding him?
Bro, Sauce is hurt too.
Still?
The Jets
He
are
didn't play this
broken. The Jets are a
I don't think
broken
Sauce played this
team.
week.
I feel like they have to bounce back at some point, dude. I'm just looking at the money line. It's just so hard to tell. Like the minus 125 on New York. Yeah, it seems like a trap. So that means that we spank Houston, dude.
Shot radio.
So either way, do you feel like the Jets are still able to compete, or do you guys feel like the Jets are just done this year?
The season. I think honestly, the seasons. If they lose one or two more, it's gonna be tough to even compete. For
Yeah,
the wild card.
it's gonna get to a point where it's mathematically
They just
impossible for
really
them to
need
even
to
make the
find their
playoffs.
chemistry. I mean, how many years does Rodgers have left in the tank? You did this all for him, so you want to get something out of it. And in all reality, I don't think this team will be a playoff contender with Rodgers under the helm. But I do think from where they came from to where they are now, yes, they are a better football team.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm curious to see. So when they signed Rodgers 2 years ago, he was on a 2-year deal. So I think this is the last year of that contract. If he's gonna re-sign for 1 or 2 more years because they got Devontae now. So I mean, I think that could have a factor in if he wants to retire truthfully or not after this season. But dude, if you miss out on the playoffs, that's got to put a fucking horrible taste in your mouth. And like at that point, you're just like, all right, I just want to call it. Like I don't want to taint my career any more than it is. Like granted, he's a top 10 quarterback of all time. There's still like I'm not going to throw that out the window. He's still one of the most accurate passes that I personally have ever seen.
Top 10's bold.
I think you can make a case for that. Granted, he had what, 2 Super Bowls? I think he had 2.
One
Had
Super Bowl.
He was in 2. He had 1. Yeah, he won. Yeah, he lost. Yeah, I think they're in a really really weird position right now. If you lose to Houston, I think all morale's gone, and you might as well just call the season right there. So I think Thursday is an absolute must win, especially against that loss against the Patriots.
100%.
Let's talk about another team and game real quick where one of these teams is in a must-win mode at the moment, the Eagles and the Bengals game. This is a game you saw Jalen Hurts throw for 1 touchdown, run it in for 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 234 yards. You have T. Higgins also sitting out this game with another injury, So looking at this, where the Bengals are at 3-5, I mean, this is a team that's had a lot of controversy around them. T. Higgins looking for a contract, Jamar Chase looking for a contract, and they just can't seem to get it going altogether. They're 0-4 at home, 3-5 on the season so far. Joe Burrow seemed pretty optimistic that they could still make a push here and win the next 8 out of 10 games, like in order to get into the playoffs. Do I think that's possible? No, not really. The Eagles obviously looking lethal. Saquon Barkley, 108 yards. on 22 carries. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown doing what they do. Devontae brought it in for a touchdown with no Dallas Goedert on National Tight Ends Day. The Eagles looking good as usual. The Bengals looking like a ghost of the past, a possible broken team here. Lou, how are you feeling about the Bengals? Do you feel like Zach Taylor and them have a chance to kind of still make a run here? Or do you feel like the Bengals are one of those AFC teams that are gone?
It's really tough because if you look at Joe Burrow's numbers, this dude is in line to win.
Cooking, dude.
Comeback player of the year.
He's cooking, dude.
He is absolutely balling out, and to see that they're 3-5 off that, really it kind of reflects more to the defense. I think the defensive side, they've been porous. They've allowed over 300 yards to the last three quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Just haven't been playing well on the defensive side of the ball. The rush isn't going home anymore. I'd be concerned if I were them. They play in a very tough division where they've already lost their first 4 division games. I'd be worried. Am I worried for the future past this season? No. T. Higgins looking for a contract, but this guy is injured almost every week, so I don't know how that will work out. But the Jamar Chase to Joe Burrow connection is still there. I still think you can get going, but to win this division and already taking 4 losses, it's going to be tough, and I don't see them even making the playoffs.
I think and the biggest thing to look at here that I'm looking at on ESPN is they're 0-4 at home. And you need to be able to win home games to even have a chance to make the playoffs, especially those divisional games. They're going to be tough. I know they still have to play Baltimore. I don't know if they played them already. I know they're going to have to play them again. Yeah. You're going to have to take on a Cleveland team that has a good defense that is riding their high with Jameis currently. Offensively, they look nice. If you want a good futures ticket to possibly throw money on, why not sprinkle a little bit on Burrow MVP? Because who knows? What if they do go off these last 8 or 9 games and he has an absolute flawless stat line for the next 8 or 9. I think that might be a good ticket to look at. Do I think it's the smartest bet? No, definitely not, but that's why you're looking for value there. Philadelphia looked like they came out slow, honestly. I thought originally when the game started, I thought Cincinnati kind of had some leverage over them with Burrow being able to drive up and down the field. This Philadelphia team is just resilient, man. Saquon Barkley, week after week, coming out, putting up basically 5 yards a carry since week 1. And then he's just absolutely phenomenal. He's a workhorse of that team. Jalen Hurts, it seems like no one has any idea or no one will ever stop the tush push. It just seems like the most overpowered fucking move in the NFL. Great receiving core, AJ, Devonta. 84 yards, 85 yards, right on par with one another. Good yin and yang combination you have there. AJ with the deep ball ability, Devonta being able to.
We film in a garage, guys. My apologies. I don't know whose card this is. We're good.
All right, back to schedule program. No, like I was saying, get the yin and yang combination with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, AJ being able to take the top off the defense, Devonta being able to run routes. I think this Philadelphia team is going to be fairly nice going into the playoffs, especially with this addition of Saquon. I really think they have a chance to make the Super Bowl this year, considering all the 49ers injuries. I would argue to say that the Eagles are the best team in the NFC at this point. But I guess we'll see once push comes to shove when the playoffs come around, because like I said, we got another team.
I gotta throw a flag out.
Okay, I already know. I was gonna.
You think the Eagles are better than the Lions?
That's okay. This is the conversation I was gonna make. This is a good debate to have. This is a good debate to have.
I don't know.
That was gonna be the next game I was gonna talk about, because the Lions look scary as fuck too. I think against Philadelphia, not having in Aiden Hutchinson would hurt them. I don't know. This is just kind of foreseeing the future. Obviously, they couldn't meet in the playoffs. But I think if they were to play right now, I think it would be a pretty fucking close game. And I think Jalen Hurts' ability to scramble would hurt the Lions. And I think it would be closer than you would think. Now, I know I said I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I could easily switch that and say the Lions too. But if I were to pick, my personal opinion, I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC right now.
I'd have to disagree.
It's a crazy statement. That's fine. I understand. The Lions look absolutely phenomenal. They do. But I feel like at the end of the day, the Eagles' willingness, their grittiness, the way they run the ball, the way that Hurts is able to scramble and make plays with his feet, I just think it would be an upper advantage. That's all. So
respectable
it's my take.
Answer.
Take it or leave it.
Respectable answer. Listen, when I see the Lions, when I dream, I see the Lions offensive line and then Caleb, and they're all wearing Bears uniforms.
Yeah.
And they're guarding for Caleb because this offensive line
Yeah, dude, they're gross.
is
The best.
lights out. They're
They're
scoring
gross.
touchdowns. They're taking kids to the buses. It's literally Panay
gross.
Sewell. I wish we would have drafted them. I wish we even had the opportunity.
Dog.
And they're like straight running the score up.
They're
And-
running people down.
And here's all I'm saying, Chicago Bears, McCaskey's, if you happen to watch the Chiesty boys, I'm saying let's let Eberflus, let's make him the defensive coordinator. Great defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus. Head coach, not so much. I'm saying we pay Ben Johnson whatever money he wants. To see Ben Johnson with this Bears roster, I would, but this Lions team is absolutely lethal. I mean, Jalen Hurts would be shitting his pants. A.J. Brown would probably have like 4 receptions for 19 yards against Jalen Johnson. I'm 100% going Lions. Best team in the NFL.
And it's just like they run it up. They like are not afraid to run it up. Like Ben Johnson is a sick motherfucker, bro. He's like, they're coming back up 30. The offense is going back out there. He's like, touchdown or nothing. Touchdown or nothing. They're going for it on 4th
Oh, it's National Tight Ends Day. We're going to have Brock Wright and Sam Laporta score a touchdown
David's
today.
going to throw him one. David Montgomery's going to throw him one.
He did
That's
throw him
crazy,
one.
dude. They scored 52 points, and Jared Goff had 12 completions for 85
52
yards.
points in 3 quarters.
How does that hit? Their
14
special
in the
teams.
first, 21 in the second, 17 in the
Special
third.
teams scored.
Yeah.
Jameer goes for 11 for 127, 11 yards per carry. Demont 9 for 33, 1 rushing touchdown, throws a touchdown. Laporta has a touchdown, Khalif Raymond touchdown, Brock Wright touchdown, Amon-Ra touchdown. 6 different players had touchdowns, bro.
Yeah.
That's just, it's ridiculous. They look,
You guys saw that parlay where someone just parlayed everyone to score, all those guys to score?
all the tight ends.
Yeah.
That's what we should have
No, he
did.
parlayed all the Lions.
All
to
the
score,
Lions.
bro.
What?
Amon-Ra,
Every single one,
he
dude.
won like $50K off it, bro. Or like he won $5,000, but off of like
Few bucks.
yeah.
Literally
They had
nothing.
Brock Wright, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra, Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, Khalif Raymond. He had all of them.
And then meanwhile, we're watching this fucking poop shoot, dude.
Yeah,
It's
this is a
fucking
horrible game.
6-3.
Hey, come on, you know my boy neighbor.
Literally nothing's going on here.
Who's this right here?
It's Tracy.
Who cares about him? But
Oh, that's Singletary.
so let's go over one more game here before we dive into our fantasy football topic here. Let's go over Sunday Night Football. Can't talk about Sunday night without Sunday Night Football here. You know what I mean? We had the Dallas Cowboys playing against the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, this one, I was worried about it personally because I had George Kittle. I know he was kind of on that injury list from last week. I was hoping he showed up, and George Kittle showed up on National Tight End Day, Sunday Night Football. You saw this man, the leading receiver, 6 receptions, 128 yards, 1 touchdown. Brock Purdy doing his thing out there, 18 for 26, 260 yards, 1 touchdown. You saw him run it in for a touchdown as well with 56 rushing yards from Brock Purdy. He's going to be getting paid next year. I think we could all agree on that one. Dak Prescott looking like a shell of a man, throwing for 2 touchdowns, but also throwing for 2 interceptions. Shout out to him. The run game for the Dallas Cowboys, obviously non-existent. Ezekiel Elliott, 34 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Dalvin Cook, 6 carries for 12 yards. CeeDee Lamb, shout out to Lou, beat me, Fan Bajamba, off CeeDee Lamb going
Had to do it.
13 receptions. He actually did it too. I remember we were talking about that before I left the house yesterday.
Oh my
He's like,
God.
I need 30. I'm like, if there's a guy to do it, it's CeeDee Lamb, bro. Like,
CeeDee Lamb literally puts up 13 receptions, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, both in the second half.
Are in that league? Are you waving the white flag?
Dude, after
Dude, it's
this
all
one,
wristband
after this
over,
one, I'm
dude.
done, bro. Like, I don't understand. That's just, I don't know how that happens,
That's
bro.
absolutely brutal.
That was brutal.
how do you not have a win, bro? Like,
Dude.
that's not throwing a flag on your
Dude.
team, dude. That's
Dude.
Oh, when they,
yeah,
Dude,
I almost lost to him. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, God,
dude. And then
Should've won.
Sam's mom was like taunting you too, bro. She said Momo's team is way better than
She,
they.
like,
Bro,
missed
she-
my text in the group chat. They were like, when
Bro.
I said I beat you.
she's just salty, bro. I mean, at the end of the day,
Are
like,
you guys like fucking Enemies? Like,
Yeah.
is that your arch nemesis?
I would say she's my arch nemesis. I mean, definitely, bro.
At you all the time.
I mean, dude, like, she's just upset because she doesn't get to come in Sam's bedroom yelling at me anymore about something. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, you left the toilet seat up or something like that. Like, bro, get out of here.
Oh, man. Fantasy's a cruel bitch. But, I mean, yeah, you're right, dude. CD was the guy to ride it with. But, hell of a game for sure. San Fran definitely needed this W. Dallas doing Dallas things.
Jake, let me ask you, where do you think Dallas goes from here? I mean, the defense looks atrocious.
Was he in? Wow, he looked in.
They might review that.
That should be reviewed. It's close. But you were saying, what do I think Dallas is going to go from here?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Is he in?
One?
No, he's out.
No.
You need a good running back, dude. I was saying this last week too. They just don't have that one guy that they could just run the ball to and be confident that they could pick up like a few yards. Zeke and Dalvin are just too old now. They just signed Dalvin, I think, off the practice squad last week. You don't really have a solidified running game to help Dak. Now, obviously, CD is going to eat, and Ferguson had a few receptions yesterday. That's really it. You know, and when you're able to own in on one guy, which teams with a good secondary will do, I can't see Dallas really doing much this season. Like with no running game, you know, and like I said, it's strictly being centered around CeeDee Lamb. Fuck it. Like, I'll let CeeDee have the stat line any day of the week, but at the end of the day, if it's 30 to 24, I don't care. Like, that's just when my dad always used to tell me about when the 96 Bulls would play Kobe and Shaq, and they would just let Kobe and Shaq drop like 30 and 40 each, and then it would be like Jordan would have like 30, Kurt would have like 15, Pimpin would have like 25. Like, they would just spread the ball around. And it's like, at the end of the day, you could have these two players, but it's not a basketball court. There's 11 guys on each side of the field when you play football, and you're going to need way more to make that happen. In terms of San Francisco, I think Purdy's doing what he has to do to kind of bring this team in the right direction. Running games for Mason has kind of fell off the past few weeks in terms of fantasy numbers. He literally just...
He got hurt.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, you're right, he did. Definitely
Yeah.
needed that big game from Debo if we're talking fantasy numbers there.
Debo literally screwed me.
He only had 14, but, I mean, it was way better than what I thought he was going to have. I already lost my game to begin with. I really wanted to see something from him, especially.
You want bad beats via the Chiesty boys? Debo, you got 4 receptions with 8 minutes left in the third, and you sit the rest of the game because of a bruised rib? Are you serious?
Hey, man, he was tired. He was tired, bro.
No, he had a bruised rib. He had some white girl rubbing the lotion on his ribs during the game.
Really?
I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous, bro.
That's
you can't get out
crazy.
there and get one more catch. Just heartbreaking.
Well, Sunday Night Football ended on a pretty exciting note. Let's talk about some fantasy football in our 4th and Drunk to Go league. We're at kind of that midpoint, I would say, right? Kind of that midpoint in the season. Past the midpoint? Okay, yeah. A little bit past the midpoint.
In terms of playoffs are here in like 7 weeks.
So our arch nemesis, Kieran, sitting up at first place with Ryan, I believe, tying him now with Kieran's loss. Jacob McKendry looks like he's going to be dropping from 3rd place with his loss this week.
Oh, probably. Yeah, I'll still be in the hunt. Be around like 5th or 6th after this week. Yeah.
You know,
Jeff's gonna move up because he won. Adam won. So yeah, I'll probably be in about 5th or 6th is gonna be looking accurate after this week. And I got to verse that motherfucker Kieran next week, bro.
Okay, facing Kieran next week. Now, Jacob, talk to us about your roster a little bit. Any injury updates? Have you had to move some guys around at all? Picked up any guys on the waiver?
I mean, it's tough because our waiver is like skin and bone. So I really don't. I've been riding with all my players all year. Have I made a trade? I don't think I've made a single trade yet, actually, this season. The thing that's really hurting me right now is DK. Don't know how long he's going to be out, so I had to put Worthy in place of him because there's no one available. And sorry, I just don't think Worthy's going to be a serviceable wide receiver 2 for the rest of the year. So, frankly, I got to find what I'm going to do with that wide receiver 2 position. Running backs, King Henry, doing King Henry things, man. Number 1 running back in fantasy.
Facts.
Mr. Aaron Jones, keep doing what you're doing. Jettis, keep doing what you're doing. I think my team looks solid. It's just that I don't know what's going to be going on with DK. So until I figure that out, and Debo, if he can continue to stay healthy, keep getting production that he's getting, I'll take the 12 to 16 points a week. That's what I need for a flex role, but I need one more piece. So I think I might have to make a move at the trade deadline here before that even occurs. So I might be reaching out to some people this week.
Respectable.
Okay.
I'm open for business.
Scam likely. 2-5 currently on the season, but he's coming off a win, so we're going to be moving up to 3-5. Bo Nix. Was that a waiver wire addition?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Bo Nix putting up 32 points. Lou, how are you feeling about the state of your team moving forward? Anything you feel like you need to address?
Well, I just like to preface that this is the first time my whole team has played since week 1. So we finally get our boys back, and look, sure as shit, we're putting up 150 again. The fact of the matter is my boys just got to stay on the field, and we can win a chip. I believe that. I truly believe
you think
my boys can stay on the field. And things are lining up for me. I got Tank Dell, who is now the #1 receiver. They're sure, don't believe me. Believe me, don't believe me. We clearly got some haters in the room.
No, he threw the double flag.
We clearly have haters in the room, so let me address it first.
No, because I threw the flag, so I can address it.
Okay, well, what do you have to say, David? Then we're going to
address it, and then you can talk to me.
Hey, just remember, there's slander. When you're winning, there's always going to be hate, and we see it firsthand.
Okay, David, I think I know why you threw run flag. It's the reason why you threw 2 flags.
Yeah, I threw 2 flags just because I feel very strongly about this, and we're at the end of the show nearly. So I'm just going to speak on this. I'm just going to speak on this a little bit extra here. All I have to say is the reason why what Lou is saying is fraudulent is because there's someone else coming for the top spot, and it's me. Okay,
I think I play you in a week or
you and I have the same record right now. You and I have the same record right now, along with a few other people, so I'm not very far behind, really.
You got a couple injuries.
After stuff said, I did have a couple injuries, but guess what? This year, I've taken that approach. I'm not scared anymore. I'm not playing scared. All right. I made some trades, some acquisitions that have definitely benefited me from what I've done. So went ahead recently, David Montgomery. As you guys know, he sustained a knee injury last week. He did have a salvageable score, 14.5 points, I believe, this week. But you saw Jahmyr Gibbs absolutely spike this week because of it. So D-Mon, he only had 10 carries, and in return, in return for David Montgomery, I got the 6th leader in receiving yards, Brian Thomas Jr. He did sustain a chest injury this week, but he's only day-to-day, will most likely be available for next week. Brian Thomas putting up 15 points for me against a stout Green Bay Packers defense. So shout out to him. All I have to say is more moves might be along the way. Jacob, I see you holding your flag, but it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be scared because I'm here to stay, and I'm moving up, and I'm taking over.
Scared of a 3-5
Week
record?
10.
I am not fucking scared at all.
Look at who I play. Look at who I play for the rest of this year, bro. Look at who I play for the rest of this year.
Week 10. You're literally losing week 10.
You gave the best player in the league the final Infinity Stone.
The rest of this year, I play Adam. I'm going to beat Adam easily.
That's a loss.
I play Adam, Lou,
That's a loss.
week 10. Then I play Jacob week 11.
No K-Walk against me. So
and then JT, Cameron, and Joe. It's an easy path to victory for me. I'm not worried at all.
Bro, your best player's out against me. K-Walk.
K-Walk, dude, I got players to fulfill him, bro. Don't worry about
it. Dude,
he's got no K1 or Rashad White against me, bro.
Oh, my God. You're in trouble.
How do I have no K-Walk against you?
Against me.
I have K-Walk against you.
Oh, that's his bye week.
Okay, well then I have K-Walk against Jacob. Tweaking, bro. What are you talking about?
All right, boys. Let's. I think we could kind of wrap this up here, so we're getting to the end. Needless to say, I guess one hell of an episode. Goddamn, I really wish the vibe. I mean, the vibe is what it is now, but it just fucking sucks having to experience what we experienced yesterday.
Yeah.
But the ability to come on here and kind of talk about it, air the grievances, makes it better for all of us. Boys, anything else you guys got to say to the crowd, to our fans at home, to everyone that is watching and supporting us?
Shout out those tight ends yesterday, huh?
Hey, natural tight end day.
I think it was, 16 touchdowns?
16 touchdowns between
16. Most in national tight end day
16
history.
touchdowns between 13 tight ends.
It was good to watch George Kittle get that last one because I feel like he's the leader, that tight end you.
Oh, absolutely.
So
easy money last night for that Kittle, Teddy. Come on.
David, anything you got to say to the peeps at home?
Hey, man, thanks for the support. Like and subscribe on our socials. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter coming to you soon.
Yes,
get on all that We're out here. We're doing this in a garage because we love sports. We love you, and we love being Chiesty. So with all that being said, Jacob.
Chiesty boys. Out.
Adios.